What's up? Welcome back to the Naked and Truth podcast. It is your host, Sari D, and today we are going to talk about something that is so common for people to go through. It's something I've been through myself, that I've worked through. It's something that I work with clients all the time and have been able to help them successfully see breakthrough in this area because it is something that can easily be pre-programmed from our childhood, from traumatic experiences that we've been through in our lives, hardships, challenges, and through the desire of wanting growth. And what that is that feeling of never being good enough, right? Feeling like you're never getting enough done, you're never progressing enough, things are just never enough. I know that this is going to hit some of you guys in the heart, and this is not going to be a huge pump up session where I'm just here to tell you guys that you are enough. Just believe that you're enough, because that shit doesn't work, okay? Yes, I know that we are all powerful. We all have our own potential that we are able to achieve. But if you don't recognize where you're going wrong in this, you will never believe that you are good enough. And so that's what I'm going to teach you to do today in the podcast episode. Now, the biggest thing that I want you guys to remember is that this is something normal, okay? With the way society works, how high our standards are, just the social media aspect of comparison, there is, chances are, going to be different moments in your life where this sneaks in. Where it starts to become really dangerous is when it's prevalent and you start feeling like it's like this toxic weed that just keeps growing and growing and growing, and all of a sudden you feel like you're not good enough in all areas of your life. Like I said at the beginning here, it is something that can stem from trauma that we've been through and making us feel like because we didn't feel good enough in that moment or in that instant or to that person, that we now are never going to be good enough no matter what we go and do. Okay? But what I see more than anything is people forgetting that it's different seasons for different reasons. We all want growth, right? We all want to achieve things. That is a natural human instinct. But what I want to make sure of is that you understand the purpose of the current season that you're in. So what that really means is maybe you have a big goal for the year that you're trying to achieve. Now, just because you're not there yet doesn't mean that this season doesn't have purpose, but it also doesn't mean that you get to define this season by your bigger goal, because chances are this season is a micro build, which is going to build you up towards that bigger goal. But just because you aren't there yet doesn't mean that you are not good enough or that you won't be able to achieve it in the future. So I want to make sure that whenever you're not feeling good enough, I want you to be clear about the purpose of this current season. Sometimes in our lives, we really are simply trying to maintain. Sometimes we are taking action that we need to get to that next step. Sometimes we are in a position where we're simply trying to feel the emotions that we're feeling because of something that we went through. If you're on Team Authentically Fit, AF Nation, you know that I am a firm believer in making sure that you feel your emotions, but not staying stuck there, right? So I want to make sure that even if you're going through a really hard season where you feel like all you need to do is take that moment to adapt and really try to feel out those emotions, okay, but give yourself a bit of a timeline. Right? Because if you don't, or if you aren't intentional with simply telling yourself that, hey, I might be feeling this right now, but that doesn't mean that that's my reality. That doesn't mean that I need to push forward like this every day, is going to give you the skill set to be able to keep going through hard things and not feeling like you're just constantly staying stuck down, right? Now, if you are in a season of growth, I want to make sure that you are clear on your definition. And that comes to the same even if you're in a season of maintaining. You need to make sure that you are clear on your definition of what success really means. Because a lot of the time when we say that what we're doing isn't good enough, that we're not good enough, we're not actually being clear on what that definition means. And I know that that sounds kind of, I know it sounds kind of weird. I really do. But the fact is that our mind is able to just completely overtake our thoughts without any clear reason or rationing and put forth an emotion, right? So that emotion being that we're never feeling good enough. And because we don't have a definition to run by, we're just giving ourselves this massive blanket statement that we're never going to be good enough, that what we're doing isn't good enough, instead of really defining what that means. So, for example, if you are in that stuck season where you are trying to get through things emotionally, that clear definition is recognizing that being able to not self-sabotage at this moment. It might not mean taking on regular actions that you would typically do, but simply just allowing yourself the time to feel is what that definition would be, right? So then if you're getting pissed off at yourself that you didn't go and achieve that financial goal, or you haven't been hitting your steps, or you haven't whatever, well, that's not actually the definition of what this current season is, right? Same thing when it comes to what you're going to achieve. Let's just say right now you're trying to lose 20 pounds, right? You really want to get that 20-pound weight loss, but you know that in this next month that it's going to be a season of trying to hit a 5-pound loss. Now, a lot of the time, because we're not clear and specific on what that definition is, we're going to continue to beat ourselves up where we're like, oh, fuck, I only lost 3 pounds. When really, that's actually amazing and getting you towards that bigger goal, but all you can think about is that 20-pound loss, right? So that 20-pound loss isn't the definition of the purpose of this season. What it really is a 5-pound loss during this month. Now, in order to get clear on your definition, you need to get clear on your goal planning, which is where everybody misses out. I recognize that goal planning can sometimes be hard to do. Sometimes it's hard to ask yourself what you actually want. But deep down inside, you do know what you want, but you might be scared to take the action to get there, and that's okay. What I really want you guys to do is break down your goals into yearly goals, okay? Things that you would like to achieve. Now, this doesn't need to be a laundry list of goals. It can be anywhere from 1 to 5 goals that you want to achieve during the year. Now, I always say that there's 4 quadrants that you should break your goals into, which is health, wealth, relationship, and self. Being able to see what's most important to you in each of those areas is going to make it easier for you to be able to set what those goals really want to be. So for your health, that's really easy. It's something that you want to do to better your health, to make health simple, to improve your physique, improve your strength, improve your stamina, right? When we're looking at wealth, those are financial goals, even if that means buying a house or having a wedding or taking a trip somewhere. Health, wealth, relationships. Relationships are the relationships that you have with your partner, your colleagues, your friends, your family, your pets. Those are your relationships. Then we're looking at self, and those are goals that you want to achieve yourself. So maybe you want to buy yourself a watch this year. Maybe it's that you want to buy yourself a boat. Maybe it's that you want to get intentional with reading and actually get 10 books off of the checklist for the year. There's so many different things that you can do for self, whether it's personal development, whether it's being selfish and buying something for yourself. Being able to look at your goals in these 4 quadrants is going to make planning that much easier instead of just sitting there and being like, what do I want this year? So breaking it down and being specific is great. Then what I want you to do is take those yearly goals, and at the beginning of each month, I want you to look at those yearly goals and assess what you would like to achieve during the month that's going to potentially put you closer to that yearly goal, right? So let's just use the self example of reading books. Maybe that means that you're going to commit to reading a whole book this month. Now, The issue is that the specific of that doesn't end there, right? Then what I encourage you to do is do a weekly goal setting where you're actually sitting down and potentially breaking down that monthly goal into steps that are going to allow you to check the boxes and build towards that monthly goal. So using that example of reading again, maybe that means that each week you're going to have a set amount of pages, or you're going to have a set amount of days that you're going to be reading for a specific time. Maybe it's a specific amount of chapters that you're going to finish within the week, but you're going to be specific on which days you're going to do your reading, right? Just like if you're looking to lose the 20 pounds and this month is going to be a 5-pound loss focus, maybe this first week, you're going to focus on simply drinking more water. So maybe you are drinking like a liter, if that. You're going to get intentional and you're going to double that to 2 liters, okay? Being able to drink more of that water is going to refrain you from drinking things like juices and other sugary beverages, but being specific during that week is going to allow for you to be more specific towards that goal for the month, which is going to allow you to get towards that yearly goal. I know you guys understand what I'm putting down here, but what I want to make sure of is that you are specific on which days you're going to be getting things done. So once you look at your year, once you look at your month, once you look at your week, you don't just stop there. You look at those weekly goals, get them scheduled into your day timer, and that is how you be intentional with it. Then what I want to make sure of is that each week you try to stay consistent with the day that you're going to be reviewing your goals and making new ones. So for me specifically, I like to do this on Saturday mornings. It's great time to be able to reflect on the week prior and look ahead at the week ahead. So what I want to encourage you to do though is to make sure that you're doing this every week, because the more that you can be consistent with it, the clearer you are on what steps you need to take in order to achieve those bigger goals, okay? Then moving into the next point, we need to make sure that at the end of each month, we're reviewing those monthly goals and then seeing where we want to build from there into the next month. Is there something that needs to be carried over? Is there a skill that we need to be sharpening? But what I end up seeing happening is that people go into a new year with great intentions. They're so excited about everything that they're going to achieve, but sometimes they're not specific with their goal planning, which therefore makes it hard for them to have a clear definition of what the purpose of this season is. In turn, allowing for them to keep going through the constant motions without being intentional on the actions that they're taking, allowing them to never feel like they're good enough. Now, I have been here more than anybody else in regards to making a to-do list that is so fucking long, it would take an entire village to complete it in a day, but for some reason, I thought that I would be able to get it all done. I know that this is going to hit with some of you guys, and I really want you to think about that, of how many times you keep trying to fill that to-do list too long, but you keep feeling stuck in the same constant motions, which is allowing you to never be good enough. But the more intentional that you can be with your goal planning, I'm not saying the more goals that you can plan, the more you're going to achieve. No, I'm saying the more intentional you can get with those goals, the more intentional that you can get with scheduling those actions is going to allow you to have a clearer definition of what your purpose of this season is, and is going to allow you to finally feel like you're good enough because you are seeing what you're checking off. But we're going into these seasons with unrealistic expectations, without clear definitions, which allows our mind to just blanket term that we are not doing good enough. The only thing we're not doing good enough in is being specific and giving what our expectations are a definition. Okay? There is a ton of value in this episode. And if you are willing to figure out the purpose of this season, to create that clear definition, to actually goal plan, even if you're just looking at weekly and you're not worrying about monthly or yearly, it would still give you an advantage. But if you are tired of letting the years, the months, the weeks, the days pass you by, you need to learn to do it different. So take this strategy and recognize that in order to feel like you're good enough, you need to actually be clear on what enough means to you. So please stop self-sabotaging yourself, because this is a vicious cycle that you can get stuck in for decades that is going to wear you dry. So take out this strategy, see that you can be good enough. It's not that you're not good enough. And if you need extra help, don't be afraid to reach out to get the help that you need. If there was specific situations in your life that you realized really develop this thought process that you are not good enough, but you can't just be pulling something like that out of your ass at the end of the day and keep drilling it into your brain and expect for that to change when you're not taking any action to actually change that thinking pattern. Okay? You don't deserve to be beat up like that. I know that we are all good enough, but me telling you that you're good enough is not going to get you out of this cycle. What is going to get you out of this cycle is making sure that you are taking these steps to take the right action. Not necessarily take more action, but to take more intentional action to see that you are 100% good enough. You are 100% capable. So have fun choosing to do it different. I hope that you found a ton of value in this episode. If you love this one, repost it to your story, tag me in it at Naked and Truth Podcast, at Authentically.fit, so that I can reshare this one and allow for your people who are probably going through the exact same thing can get some breakthrough just like you. Thanks, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.